Well, good evening, folks, and welcome again to our regular council meeting for December 15th, 2020. And we'll start off tonight with our adoption of agendas and minutes. First, adoption of the meeting agenda for December 15th, 2020.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Tilley, second by Councillor Butler. A discussion? All those in favour? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. Adoption of the meeting minutes of December the 1st, 2020. Moved by Councillor Hillier, second by Councillor Uden. Discussion? All those in favour? Those opposed? Motion carried. Business arising from previous minutes? There being none. Visitors, presentations, and petitions. I don't think we have any tonight. No petitions. So new business. So we'll start off with Deputy Mayor Murphy.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Nothing out of the ordinary. I'd just like to end this year for us, a year like no other, of course. We've all faced challenges and hardships to some degree, but you know, we're hopefully now with the new vaccine and things are looking up, things are looking positive. So I'd just like to end the year by thanking the residents of Conception Bay South for their support, what we do, and also wishing all the residents, colleagues around the chamber, staff, workers, a very, very Merry Christmas and a happy and prosperous New Year, and hopefully 2021 will be kinder than 2020 was to us. Thank you very much, Your Worship. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Murphy. Councillor Uden.
Yeah, certainly echo Deputy Mayor Murphy's comments. I just, you know, certainly a season's greetings to the residents, but I'm just going to thank staff. It's been a hard year. We've asked them to pivot. We've asked them to change how they do business, and for the most part, they delivered with shining results. So certainly thank you. Enjoyed a break from council. I know I will, and you certainly will come back refreshed in the new year. That's it from me, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Uden. Councillor Tilley.
Thank you, Your Worship. Those points are well said. Just to wish all of our residents a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year, and hopefully 2021 will be a lot brighter.
Councillor Hillier.
Yes, Your Worship, I guess we've all got the same message this evening, and just wishing everybody happy holidays and make sure everyone stays COVID safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bent.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just before that, I want to say this past week is, I know for some people it's really the beginning of the Christmas spirit for many in Conception Bay South that happens with the Riley Mercer Memorial Toy Drive. And this year, you know, with COVID and the restrictions and the changes to the event, did not dampen the generosity of the residents of Conception Bay South and area. This year, the support for that fundraiser, that toy drive, was tremendous. In talking with Bernie and Louise, the toys, they believe they received about $30,000 worth of toys and an additional $15,000 in gift cards and checks and so forth to go towards more toys. And as of today, they were still reporting that the donations were continuing. They did a live stream service that night on December 10th, and they told me that they had hundreds upon hundreds of viewers, some as far away as Australia, tuned in to see this. So the spirit of Alex and Riley Mercer reaches far beyond the borders of our town and our province and even our country, it seems. And they do this each year, of course, to remember and Alex and Riley and their lives, and they do it in a way that enriches and brings joy to many other lives. So I thank Bernie and Louise for that in the memories of their children, Riley and Alex. So it was just wonderful and an uplifting experience to be part of, and I know a number of my council colleagues were there, and I'm pretty sure most everyone donated, so it's just a fantastic thing. And I just want to finish by wishing everyone around this table and that works here at our town and our residents a very Merry Christmas, a safe Christmas, and we're looking forward to even a better new year in 2021. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bent. Councillor Bursey.
Thank you, Worship. I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas from it is my family to it is your family, and hope that everybody's safe during the Christmas holidays, and please stay COVID safe. There you go.
Thank you, Councillor Bursey. Councillor Butler.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just before I send off my greetings, one good news story from our CVS Community Garden. I'm sure most of you have heard, and it's been on social media. During the annual general meeting last week of the Economic Developers Association of Newfoundland and Labrador, they awarded CVS Community Garden as the project of the year for a population over 3,000. I wanted to extend our sincere congratulations to each of the committee members for having such an impact within our community, and we've all seen how wonderful this community garden has been and how it's grown, and I look forward to it growing even more in the new year. And safe, healthy, happy Merry Christmas to all staff, residents, all my councillors around here, and all the best in 2021, and thank you everybody for all you've done. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Butler. Councillor Davis.
Yes, Your Worship. The Conception Bay South Parks Commission held their annual general meeting earlier this month. Annual reports from the member groups, Manuel's River, Chamberlain's Park, Kelgaroo's Ecological Enhancement Program, and the Community Garden Committee were tabled. I want to extend congratulations to all of those groups for the tremendous amount of work they have completed in beautifying and protecting town-owned lands throughout the town. Their passion and dedication certainly does not go unnoticed. And also, Your Worship, I would also like to wish all our residents, staff, council a very Merry Christmas. And I'd also like to remind them to follow the COVID rules set by our Chief Medical Officer of Health and stay safe.
Thank you very much. Councillor Davis. So just a couple of quick things. I certainly want to echo what Councillor Bent said regarding Bernie and Louise Mercer and the amount of gifts they collected again this year. I've seen some pictures. It was phenomenal. I fortunately couldn't attend, but I certainly want to acknowledge what they've done, I guess, for unfortunate reasons, but they've taken it on and put a whole new light on it, which was a terrible event in their lives, and have turned it into a miraculous event. And again, I want to echo Councillor Bent's words and certainly thank them for what they do, and have created an awful lot of smiles this Christmas for an awful lot of young children in our community and abroad. So thanks very much, Bernie and Louise. Just want to mention snow clearing. This year again now, we've started. We've had our first little blush. Of course, we've done some ice control, no doubt, over the last number of weeks. But just to remind people, we do have a 24/7 hour service now. Is one of the things we fought hard and listened to the residents of the town. We now have in place, but like anything, it will take time to get to every street and every corner. And please bear with us. These guys are out, like I said, all hours of the day and night, doing what they can, guys and girls, doing what they can to look after us. And, you know, there's a priority, obviously. We can't have every sidewalk done the minute the snow stops. That'll be done as we do our roads and so on. So, again, keep that in mind. Also keep in mind that we do have the weather in Conception Bay South do change rapidly. And sometimes we don't have as much snow, but that means we end up with more freezing rain. So sometimes it looks like the roads are fine, but in actual fact, they're not, especially on the higher elevations. I live in Dunsill Road. I can leave in there and can't walk across my step, but yet by the time I get out to the main road, it's a total different climate altogether. So bear that in mind, especially living in Conception Bay South. And one of the things that happened last year was initiated, I guess, by a group of young people, and we talked about it in our meeting earlier, and that was the clearing of our fire hydrants. And I know the chief is here, and there's other people among us who've had lots of experience. And I think it's fair to say, you know, that's a bother for all of us when we have heavy snow events, and we know that, you know, our fire hydrants may take some time to get to all of them. with the number that we have in our town. So it was started by a couple of young people last year, and I know there was multiple pictures that went on our social media pages of young people taking the initiative, and older people clearing out the fire hydrants on their street, and you know, it really could save a life and make a difference. So I encourage everyone, in true Conception Bay South passion and grit and whatever else you want to call it, look after your neighbours and yourselves, and shovel out your fire hydrants if at all possible. And certainly, if you notice one that isn't been shoveled out in a not reasonable amount of time, and the others have been, and there's one probably missed, please, by all means, let us know. We'll make sure to try to get someone there to clean them out. But as you also know, some of these fire hydrants, unfortunately, are, you know, can be buried in, depending on whichever way the wind is blowing and so on. So again, keep up the great service that the residents provided last year, and please continue to shovel out the fire hydrants if at all possible. And without closing, I too want to wish everybody in Conception Bay South a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Again, our staff, our directors and our staff, and the people who are going to be out working through all weather this Christmas, and people who work in this building, I certainly want to acknowledge their contribution to making this town a great place to live through the thick and thin of it all. So, you know, I certainly want to acknowledge them and their families who are without their loved ones when they're out doing the things that they do for us, our first responders and our snowplow operators and so on. And I also want to make a special Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to our neighbours. I'd like to think that in the last year and a half in particular, we've done a lot more meetings with and conversations with our municipalities, in particular St. John's and Paradise and Mount Pearl, Torbay, and even on a couple of occasions Holyrood, about ways and trying to find ways that we can do things to, you know, make a better life for us here on the Northeast Avalon, and maybe even find ways that we can do things cheaper. So I just want to acknowledge our neighbours, thank them for being as open as they've been, whether that's dealing with policing or economic development or whatever the case may be. And I certainly want to wish all our friends and neighbours, especially our neighbours, a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year on behalf of the residents of Conception Bay South. And thank you very much. So, I'll just give Deputy Mayor Murphy. Deputy Mayor, I got to leave a little early through the program here tonight. So as we get down through, maybe we can switch chairs. I got a family event to look after, so we'll move on. Okay, first up, we have the recommendations of the Planning and Development Chair, Councillor Rex Hillier.
Yes, Your Worship, these are recommendations brought forward from our December 8, 2020 meeting. Number 1, 15 Topsail Beach Road. Recommendation, be it so resolved that in accordance with Council's authority provided by Section 10.7 of the Town's Development Regulations, application number 2020-299, seeking approval of hobby farming as an ancillary use at 15 Topsail Beach Road, be approved on the condition that a maximum of 5 hens, ducks or geese be permitted on the property, and that the fowl must be contained within the property at all times. And further, be it so resolved that any hives, coop, or run proposed with the application must be located and built in accordance with the town's accessory building regulations. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Uden, discussion?
Yes, Your Worship, obviously some residents want to get into the hobby farming and an application in and for a significant number of fowl and some beehives. So this is what the agreement that we've come to as a committee and bringing forward this evening with some conditions.
All those in favour?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Number 2.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, I have to declare a conflict on item number 2 regarding the fence application. My son is employed by that
Okay.
business.
Thank you. Councillor Tully.
Your Worship, 791 Conception Bay Highway. Be it so resolved that in consideration of Council's authority at Section 16 and 17 of the town's fence regulations, application number 20-F-156 be approved to permit a 2.7 metre high fence along the north and eastern property boundaries behind the established building line, and a 1.8 metre high front yard fence approximately 18 metres in length along the north boundary only and forward of the established building line at 791 Conception Bay Highway. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Davis, discussion?
Mr. Bishop, this property abuts a used car dealership, which is relatively new in our town, and, you know, looks fabulous where it is, but it is a used car dealership, and the owners wish to put a fence in between themselves and that piece of property. Again, this is not exactly what they came looking for, but this is the compromise that our committee is prepared to bring forward.
Okay. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Number 3, 26 to 50.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Councillor Tilley, can someone retrieve? Coming in like a bandit with his mask on. Okay, Councillor Tilley. Go ahead, Councillor Tilley.
Yes, sir. Your Worship, number 3, 26 to 50 Lowell Road. Be it so resolved that in accordance with Council's authority as section 4.155 of the Town's Development Regulations, the town provide an opportunity for public review of the land use impact assessment report received in relation to proposed shoreline stabilization at 26 to 50 Lowell Road. So moved.
Seconder? Councillor Tilley, discussion?
Mr. Worship, this property is right on the beach and is looking at doing some stabilization to protect it from itself from erosion. Because of the sensitivity of that area, we asked for a land use impact assessment report, which we have, and we're now leaving it available for anyone who wishes to review it and comment on it.
All those in favour?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Your Worship, a couple of things before I get to the blanket statement. Speaking of land use impact assessment reports, on Thursday evening coming, we're offering an online consultation session. We'll be hosting a session that will be live streamed through the town's YouTube channel starting at 6 p.m. on Thursday, December 17, 2020. The participants will have an opportunity to pose questions and hear responses from council, the applicant and their consultant regarding the land use impact assessment report. Anyone wishing to actively participate and engage with the panel must pre-register. Of course, Your Worship, that's the OCI proposal in Long Pond. For further information, feel free to contact anyone in our planning department here at the town. Just two things. First of all, in order to be actively involved, you need to pre-register, and the focus of this is the land use impact assessment report. Your Worship, the other item I have, Your Worship, as you're aware, at the intersection of the Trans-Canada Highway and Pitts Memorial Drive, or Peacekeepers Way, whoever you want to refer to, there's a huge pit construction. It's been there for a long, long time. Has basically knocked the top off that hill. We refer to it as Weir's Pit, but it's not fair just to put the Weir's name on it because Weir's our company in there. There are other companies there as well. Your Worship, that pit is in a watershed that takes water down through Paradise, down through Topsail, and empties in Conception Bay at Topsail Beach. If we go to the Foxjob Access Road, from Foxjob Access Road to Lawrence Pond, along Incinerator Road, we have another series of pits for construction. Those pits are in the watersheds of the Foxtrot River, the Killigrews River, the Lower Gullies River, and the Upper Gullies River. They have a couple of things in common. The main thing they have in common is that these pits we have no jurisdiction over. They're all in the city of St. John's, and they all potentially impact the waters that flow through our town. And the reason I'm bringing that up this evening is, Your Worship, we now have the city of St. John's now has 3 more applications for quarries that would have the same impact, same potential impact on our town. These 3 quarries are in the area of the intersection of Foxjob Access Road and the Trans-Canada Highway. One which is due east of the intersection of Foxcroft Access Road and Trans-Canada Highway is the big hill, wooded hill, beautiful scenic hill. So if this quarry goes ahead, that hill is going to look like the pit and the other pits that I'm referring to. One of the other two pits will be located on the south side of the Trans-Canada Highway in an area we refer to as Pastureland Road. We know Pastureland Road has been a place where the Boy Scouts have or had, if not still do, a summer camp. The old Comrade COB have a cottage in there. People go in there to hunt, people go in there to pick berries. The parking lot there is a jumping off place where people park to access their skidoos and quads to go on back in the country. Your Worship, these are also in the city of St. John's. And at some point in time, we've got to say, well, this got to stop. All right? These are affecting all of our watersheds, potentially affecting all of our watersheds. And we know, like, some of our residents have been actively involved in this right from the get-go. People that keep, every time there's been an application for a quarry in an incinerator road, they've come to us and said, are you guys aware of this? Will you write a letter to support us? And we have. And at this point in time, I think enough is enough. Right? The potential damage to our watersheds being made by decisions by people that are nowhere near us, they're 20 kilometers downtown, we need to step up and say, we need to stop this. And I encourage our residents to educate themselves on this whole issue and also get involved as well. Thank you very much.
Councillor
Your
Hillier,
Worship,
just
okay.
before the blanket statement, if you don't mind, I'd like to add to that. I support you 100% on this. I know we've had a couple of conversations about it. It's become too much. Like, you know, I understand that, you know, we got to have aggregate. Obviously, you got to build roads, you got to build buildings, so you need aggregate. But I mean, the way the pits are going now, it's actually at the gateways of Conception Bay South. It's just becoming the ideal locations. And that's unfortunate. And I think it's with that in mind, and I always think about the scar that was left going up the Northern Peninsula. Just before you get to the park, the Grossmoor National Park, on the left-hand side, there was a big, beautiful hill there, and you're about to enter the park, and they had scorched it by taking all the trees off it. And I thought, my God, there's enough trees in Newfoundland and Labrador that you shouldn't have to do that. Now, I know that there's a need for how close you have to be to plants and so on, but I just think it's time for us to draw the line. And so, on that note, I think we're going to write, or we have written, 3 letters. One to the Minister of Environment, one to the Minister of Municipal Affairs, one to the Minister who is responsible for quarries, and another one to the City of St. John's, just expressing our I don't know if displeasure is the correct word, but certainly so that we are part of the decision-making process on these, what are significant issues for our town. And you know, again, you know, do you go back then to the whole discussion about, you know, the boundaries are what they are, and I think that was decided in sometime in the 90s. But, you know, obviously these are having magnificent effects, like you went talking about our watersheds and so on. So I certainly support you 100%, Councillor Hillier, and I think it's important that we probably look into the new year of, you obviously as Chairman of Planning, that we probably arrange some meetings and move forward with a much heavier position, because it's becoming too much, and I certainly agree.
And Your Worship, the blanket agreement from blanket recommendation from our meeting in December, early December, be it so resolved that the decisions and recommendations made at the Planning and Development Committee meeting on December 8, 2020 be accepted as presented. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Bursey. Discussion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much, Councillor Hillier. Recommendations of the Engineering and Public Works Committee. Chair, Councillor Junior Bursey.
Yes, Your Worship, we have one this evening. It is Anchorage Road and Middle Road approval to award consulting services. Recommendation, be it so resolved that approval be given to enter into prime consult agreement with SNC Lavalin Incorporated for Middle Road and Anchorage Road, upgrades including sidewalks at approximate cost of $204,050.26, including HST. Funds are available in the project account. So moved.
Seconder? Councillor Tilly. Discussion?
Yes, Your Worship, the scope of the work is being done is $2.5 million to widen and upgrade Middle Road, as well as to install sidewalk along with curb and gutter from Peacekeepers Way to Country Pat Road. $1 million to upgrade Anchorage Road. This will include roughly 1.5 kilometers of paving from Peacekeepers Way overpass to Middle Road, and roughly $375K to install new sidewalks throughout the community. Is locations to be reviewed and will be announced in the new year. The construction is anticipated to start in the spring and completed over the late summer. Thanks, Your Worship.
All those in favour?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
And the blanket recommendation is be it so resolved that the recommendations and decisions made at the Engineering and Public Works Committee meeting on December 8, 2020 be accepted and presented. So moved.
Seconder? Councillor Hillier. Discussion? All those in favour?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. So Deputy Mayor Murphy, I think I have to excuse myself for the night again, boys. I'd just like, and girls, I'd like to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And thanks for, hopefully we'll have a just successful year in 2021.
Okay, the next item is recommendations of the Recreation and Leisure Services Committee. Chair is Councillor Kirkuden. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Hillier. Any discussion? All in favour? Counter-minded, motion is carried.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Uden. I'm going to ask Councillor Tilley to bring forward the recommendations of the Financial and Administrative Services Committee. Councillor Tilley?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. The following recommendations are from our meeting held on December 8th, 2020. The first 3 or 4 deal with our day-to-day operations, and of course, we're just paying our bills. Number 1, accounts payable check registrar. Be it so resolved that approval be given to pay accounts payable checks totaling $280,880.81. So moved.
Seconder, Councillor Uden. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favour? Counter-minded, motion is carried.
Number 2 is ratification of manual checks previously released. Be it so resolved that approval be given to ratify the payment of manual checks previously released totaling $112,099.68. So moved.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Butler. Any discussion? All in favour?
Aye.
Counter-minded, motion is carried.
Number 3 is the ratification of direct payments previously released. Be it so resolved that approval be given to ratify direct payments previously released totaling $411,099.18. So moved.
It's been moved. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Bent. Any discussion? All in favour?
Aye.
Counter-minded, motion is carried.
Number 4, capital invoices. Be it-
Councillor Tilley,
I'm
I
sorry.
will interrupt you. I have to declare a conflict of interest on this item due to the fact that my in-law family is listed on the check register there, Eric Taylor Limited, and while I'm out, I have to declare interest, the conflict of interest on item number 10, which is the recommendation for casual fire captain, and the reason for that is I had a family member was involved in the competition of that particular item, so you could probably do those two while I'm out. Thank you.
I guess we'll assume the chair. Councillor Tilley. Okay. Number 4, capital invoices.
Number 4, capital invoices. Recommendation. Be it so resolved that approval be given to pay capital invoices totaling $699,576.78 as listed below. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Tilley. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Butler. All those in favour?
Aye.
Counter-minded, carried.
Okay, we'll skip to number
10.
Number 10, personal issue, casual fire captain. Of course, just in case the public's not aware, all of our fire department shifts have a duty captain, and of course, those firefighters, those fire captains, they need relief every now and then through annual leave, sick leave, whatever the case may be. So the recommendation is, be it so resolved that pending acceptable documentation, approval be given to appoint Richard Hines as fire captain on a casual basis per the terms and conditions of the employment contract. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Tilley. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Bent. All those in favour?
Aye.
Counter-minded, carried. We'll get Deputy Mayor back. Deputy Mayor, we're at number 5. We got number 10 done as well.
Thank you very much, Councillor Uden. So, Councillor Tilley, you can continue on with the
Number
report.
5, tax and other receivable adjustments. Be it so resolved that approval be given to adjust tax and other receivable accounts as follows. So moved.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Bursey? Any discussion? All in favour?
Aye.
Counter-minded, motion is carried.
Number 6 is approval to pay councillor remuneration for the 2021 fiscal year. Be it so resolved that approval be given for the disbursement of councillor remuneration for the 2021 fiscal year as follows. And the total budget for remuneration for 2021 is $289,160. And funds are available in the so noted account. So moved.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Uden, any discussion? All in favour?
Aye.
Contrary-minded, motion is carried.
Number 7, approval to release checks and make payments during the holiday period. The recommendation is, be it so resolved that approval be given to issue checks and make payments from December 16, 2020 to January 18, 2021. Checks released during this period will be ratified at the council meeting of January 19, 2021. So moved.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Butler, any discussion? All in favour?
Aye.
Contrary-minded, motion is carried.
The next has to do with power of sale. Be it so resolved that approval be given to initiate power sale proceedings on arrears accounts identified at the Financial Services meeting of December 8, 2020. So moved.
Do we have a seconder?
I'm going to step out on this one. That's land in an area of some church property that I'm involved with.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Uden. Discussion. All in favour?
Aye.
Contrary-minded, motion is carried. We can invite Councillor Hillier back now.
And number 9 is a COVID-19 stimulus program application. We have an opportunity to apply for some funds through the federal COVID-19 stimulus program. Be it so resolved that approval be given to make application to the Department of Environment, Climate Change and Municipalities under the COVID-19 stimulus program for $150,000 for the Town Hall landscaping project. So moved.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Davis. Any discussion? All in favour?
Aye.
Contrary-minded, motion is carried.
And Your Worship, I have 2 recommendations to bring from our Committee of the Whole meeting. Number 1 has to do with a tender for Fire Department uniform clothing. And it's tender 20-15 for Fire Department uniform clothing. Be it so resolved that approval be given to award tender number 20-15 as follows. Funds are available in the uniform clothing budget account. So noted. So moved.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Hillier. Any discussion? Just want to mention that there is 3 different vendors in that motion. Martin and Levesque, the Uniform Shop Plus, and William L. Chafe and Sons, and there's a whole list of different items of clothing that were probably a bit too long to list. I just want to make mention of that. Any further discussion? All in favour?
Aye.
Contrary-minded? Motion is carried.
And the second is the standing offer for the Fire Department protective equipment. Be it so resolved that approval be given to award tender number 20-01 as follows. For first response supply for bunker gloves and boots, Micmac Fire Safety, and funds are available in the uniform clothing budget account. So noted. So moved. I think I got all that right.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Bursey? Any discussion?
Now, I think that's standing offer for 3 years, I believe, is it?
It is, yes it is, sir, yeah.
And the pricing is noted that way in the recommendation.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favour?
Aye.
Contrary-minded? Motion is carried.
And finally, Your Worship, is the blanket recommendation. Be it so resolved that the recommendation decisions made at the Financial Administrative Services Committee meeting of December 8, 2020 be accepted as presented. So moved.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Hillier? Any discussion? All in favour? Contrary-minded? Motion is carried. Thank you very much, Councillor Tilly, and my apologies for not passing those two additional items. I forgot to give them to you. All right. Recommendations of the Economic Development and Tourism Committee. Councillor Christine Butler.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Presentation of recommendations of our meeting held on December 8th, 2020. First recommendation, Chamberlain's Park donation. Be it so resolved that approval be given for a donation to Chamberlain's Park Action Committee for the completion of their boardwalk project to a maximum of $29,000. Funds are available in so noted account number. So moved.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Davis. Any discussion?
Yes, Deputy Mayor. Just a little bit of background there. The Chamberlain's Park Action Committee have done a tremendous job at making their trail fully accessible and safe for all trail users. Due to the increased cost of building supplies this past summer, they fell a little short on the budget for the completion of the 2020 project. While they have funding applications pending to various organizations, we wanted to support them in completing their project should the funds be required.
I just apologize for asking the question off the top, but will this actually finish that boardwalk with the bridge and all?
Yes, my understanding, Jennifer? Yes?
All right, perfect, good.
Yes.
Money well spent.
It's wonderful. Perfect.
Any further discussion? All in favour?
Aye.
Counter-minded, motion is carried.
And our blanket recommendation, be it so resolved that the recommendations and decisions made at the Economic Development and Tourism Committee meeting of December 8th, 2020 be accepted as presented. So moved.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Bent. Any discussion? All in favour? Counter-minded, motion is carried. I don't think there's any other committee reports. Does anyone to bring anything forward? Hearing none, we'll call for a meeting adjournment. Councillor Hillier, seconded by Councillor Davis. All in favour? Counter-minded? Motion is carried. Have a good evening, everyone, and have a safe Christmas. Meeting is adjourned.